Hello and welcome to the FAtiMA Toolkit survey. This is a presentation about intelligent agents. My name is Manuel Guimarães, and let's start. Let's start by defining what is an agent. An agent is anything that perceives its environment through sensors and acts upon that environment through actuators. For instance, if you're driving a car, you perceive that the light is turned red and you stop the car. A robot driver or an agent driver would do the exact same thing and would stop the car using its actuators. In the agent's mind, the world is represented in terms of beliefs, desires, and intentions or goals. Using those concepts, an agent would have a set of possible actions depending on the domain, and depending on their intelligence and social level, they might also perceive emotions to support that decision making. Finally, they also have a memory that stores the changes over the time on these elements. The main input of agents is events. It's the way agent perceives what happens in the environment around. And they represent changes in the world and can be caused by an agent itself or other agents. For instance, a car going faster than mine, I'll probably move to the side. If a car is moving faster than mine, that is considered an event. And of course, these will have effects in the agent's mind. For instance, they might change the agent's beliefs, goals, and intentions, its emotional state, and its memory. Beliefs are the way agents use to represent information the agent knows about the surrounding world itself and other agents. So for instance, if a car is moving faster than me, the agent would perceive that and would create a belief regarding that, right? For instance, I have 3 oranges, it's sunny outside, or Peter is not nice. They can be represented in several different ways, but we will use this simple notation to describe those beliefs, right? Have oranges equals 3, is sunny equals true, is Peter nice equals false. Of course, this can vary from system to system, but they should all be readable and should have captured the concept they're trying to describe, right? Goals are the way an agent represents what they want to achieve. They could be a desirable state of the world, a relationship, or even a preferable belief value. For instance, I want to marry Sarah, I want to survive, or I want to have a job as an astronomer. Usually there's 2 different values associated with this. The first one is its significance or importance to the agent. And the second one, its likelihood to be achieved. For instance, I want to marry Sarah, but I don't give it that high of a significance compared to staying alive, for instance. And the likelihood of that happening might be way higher than marrying Sarah, for instance. Actions are the way the agents produce changes in the world. They usually have preconditions that must be met in order to be executed. For example, the agent will go to the beach if it is sunny. We have an action name, which is go to beach, and we have a condition, which is sunny equals true. Additionally, these actions might also have targets and priority levels so that if there are many different actions that the agent has available to them, then they are able to pick the one that should be the best fit. For example, the agent will flirt with someone they like if it is sunny. We have an action name called flirt. We have a target, which in this case is represented by a variable. And then we have a condition of is sunny equals true and likes person equals true. It's very important to take into account that these conditions are evaluated against the agent's knowledge base, which is their combination of beliefs. So, for example, if an agent named Peter has 2 different beliefs, is sunny equals true and like Sarah equals true, and then we have the same action that we defined before, then when these conditions are evaluated against the knowledge base of Peter, then Sarah, or the variable person, would become Sarah, and the outcome is that action flirt could be executed towards the target Sarah. Now let's talk a little bit about emotions. The emotional state of an agent stores all current emotions and the overall mood. Emotions represent good or bad reactions to events in the world. So for instance, if a car is going against me, I might feel the emotion fear, right? I will be scared if a car is going against me. And that is a reaction to an event in the world. And there are many different emotional theories. The one we're going to talk about today is the OCC model of emotions, named after its authors, Orthonik, Lohr, and Collins. This model says that in practice, emotions are a way of evaluating events that occur in the environment. And not only that, is that the events, the input of the agents that we talked about before, these events are evaluated by a set of appraisal variables, and the value of those variables are then output, essentially translate into emotions, okay? So let's say that we have an event where Peter offers a gift to Sarah, and we've written a rule that this event is desirable, which means that it's good for myself or it's good for Sarah, for instance. Then, in that case, this would generate joy. So, for instance, if Peter offers Sarah a gift, she will be happier because essentially it's generating joy. However, if I wrote a rule when I'm creating the agent, so for instance, I created an agent, Sarah, that doesn't like gifts, then I would say that for her, the desirability equals -5, so she would feel distressed. Okay. The OCC model is quite complex, and there are many different appraisal variables. They all mean different things. For instance, praiseworthiness is regarding the society's value, society's standards to that event. So, for instance, if that event is praiseworthiness, but for instance, desirability is regarding the consequences of events, if they are desirable for me or not, and if they affect my goals or not. Finally, just like the other components, there are many different approaches to creating dialogue and integrating it into a scenario. So if you want an agent that talks in real time with human users, there are many different approaches. A few of them are, for instance, a dialogue tree, where you just go down the tree if you select one of these options, and a dialogue pool, where you just have a mix of a ton of dialogues, and the agents are picking from that pile, essentially. FAtiMA uses a hybrid approach. So the system we are basing this presentation on uses a hybrid approach, where the dialogue manager does not make decisions for the agents. Instead, it just tells what are the available options that it can choose from. So the agent decides to do an action, and if that action is a dialogue action, then the dialogue manager will say, oh, for this state of the conversation, you have these different utterances or dialogues available to you. Okay, so for instance, if I design an agent that enters the room, maybe he will decide to say something, and that something could have, for instance, could be an introduction. So yeah, I'm in the state of the conversation called introduction, for instance, or intro. Then the dialogue manager will say, okay, so if you're in this first state, then you have these 3 different utterances, right? Hi, hello everyone, or what up? And then the conversation would move forwards to the next state. So the agent that are replying to this agent would probably be in this state of the conversation, in the next one. And in the next, they could say hi, or hey, or what's up, in response to the first one, okay? So it's a hybrid approach because it mixes both. Now we've taken a look at all of the perception action cycle of the agents. Once again, the input is events. So they represent changes in the world, which is then appraised either by the emotional appraisal process of the agent or by its internal state. Essentially, the events cause changes in both of these processes, right? In the beliefs, emotional state, and memory, and maybe goals. And then using that information, so all of this different information is then used for the decision making of the agents, which will then output actions. And finally, these actions might be dialogue actions, which in that case, then you use the dialogue manager, right? So despite the wide range of different approaches, all intelligent agents have some sort of representation for the concepts that we've just discussed. Beliefs or goals, beliefs, desires, and goals, actions and emotions, and finally dialogue, right? So in order to create these concepts, there are many different agent modeling tools, which is tools that create these types of agents. However, most of them use this type of rule-based logic. Action name, flirt, priority 2, they have a target, they have these conditions. And then these conditions are evaluated against the agent's knowledge base, okay? This is a different look of the whole architecture. There are different components. However, they all use similar rules. What we mean is that, for instance, in the emotional appraisal, there are also rules similar to the ones that we've seen. For instance, here we have an appraisal rule that says Sarah considers it is desirable when an agent that she likes smiles at her. So you have this event template. Essentially, you define the type of events that you're trying to appraise. And you say that the target is Sarah, and then you define the appraisal variable. For instance, in this case, is desirability, because the event is desirable, which has a positive value when she likes the agent, right? So this event happened. This is what happens if these conditions are met. So if this event happens and this agent, she likes the agent that smiled at her, then it will lead to desirability. Additionally, you could also have the world model rules. The world model essentially dictates what are the consequences of each action. And so, for instance, you could say something like, if John eats an apple, then he is no longer hungry. And you define that if this action occurs to the target John, then his property or his belief is hungry is false. Okay. So that is all from this presentation. I hope I've helped you. And additionally, you can also learn more about FAtiMA Toolkit and these types of agent modeling tools in our official website. And it's a free tool, so you can use it at any time just by going to the GitHub page. Thank you so much for watching.